right?
Nah, you still hearing it?
Yeah, it's on my end.
All right. Peace to the world. We back live once again for the Think Music Podcast. I am the Gnosis, aka Jamal.
And I'm Deb Dunlap, the producer. Mhm.
And took another little brief hiatus last week. But we are back again. And just gonna chop it up real quick about some things, real life things.
Mhm.
And and then we gonna skate. But the topic, what was the topic? Scared to die. Uh, let me get over here. Scared to die.
Scared to live.
Scared to die, but afraid to live. I think was the title.
Mm.
Scared to die, afraid to live. Yeah, yeah. Just an overarching title um, about the nature of the world we living in right now. Uh, so I don't know. You wanna jump in and
Yeah, man. So, just to let the people know, my mother has come down with the virus, and she was down for a while, and I called to check in on her on Wednesday. She had probably been down since the Tuesday before. She had noticed something coming on. She just thought it was like a cold or something. But she is working part time, so at her job she has to get, tested or what have you. And so she got tested, came back positive, and at the same time, excuse me, she she became sick. So, my wife, her and my wife talk a lot. They was talking. So my wife had been talking to her and told me that my mom wasn't feeling well. I called her. She had like this really bad scratchy voice, and as she was telling me, she was saying she was trying to cook some, she well, not trying, she had cooked some beans, but she couldn't taste the seasoning. So she was like adding more seasoning because she's like, why can't I taste it? I wind up saying, those beans are probably mad salty.
hmm,
I didn't try them when I looked in the fridge either. I was like, those things probably, you probably need a gallon of water. So, uh, so we're calling her and checking in on her, and then her voice is just sounding like uh really hoarse and all of that. Like she was really losing her voice, and then and she was sleeping a lot. and my wife had brought her like some NyQuil one time, and she went through that, and she was just fatigued, sleeping, sleeping, sleeping. You know, and then sometimes we would call, she wouldn't answer. Then she would like call back later and just say, "I've been sleeping." So that went on. She wasn't eating like that, even though she told us she was. But when I wind up going over her house on this past Wednesday, she was like frail. I could tell she hadn't been eating, at least like properly or regularly. So then, so anyway, you know, I call, I'm out, I check on her, I hear the shortness of breath. So I'm on the phone. I'm like, well, mom, when I get done doing what I'm doing, peace wise feminine. I was
Peace,
like,
wise women.
when I get done doing what I'm doing, I'm gonna come over your house and, you know, check you out, see what's going on. So, you know, I call my wife, let her know. She tells me to go buy oxygenator, I believe it's called. And so I went and bought one of those and took her to her house. We checked her oxygen. Her oxygen was good, but she still had the shortness of breath. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna go to work and come back because you need somebody around you. Didn't know what this shortness of breath really was meaning, um, but I was like, you just need someone around you, you know. And while we was talking to, she was saying something about calling me and my wife to like come stay with us because she didn't want to be at home by herself. So so I'm there, we hanging out, we're talking, and you know, she's still kind of doing her, she's up for a little bit, she nap, I wind up napping. And so I got up, and I usually, you know, go clean about 6:37. And at 6 o'clock I got a text telling me not to come because the carpets were being cleaned, which, well, it was, she just texted me the carpets are being cleaned, so that meant come later. So I was like, okay, cool, I can get a little more sleep. I wind up going to get an air mattress, blowing it up, and laying down for a little bit, you know. And I popped up probably like around 9, but I was still kind of tired, so I went back to sleep. So I went back to sleep, and then I, I was woken up by my mom's breathing. I woke up, she was sitting up and kind of like trying to gather herself. So this was probably like around 10:30, 10:45, somewhere in there. And I'm just looking at her labor. So I'm like, you know, we gotta get you to the hospital. Like, you want to go to the hospital? So she's like, yeah. So I called the paramedics, and she goes to the hospital. And you know, like I was telling you offline, you know, if I don't get that text from my contact person at my account, you know, I probably would have left early. And then, you know, and my brother was supposed to, because me and my brother, we hadn't discussed it yet, but we were talking about like being around her 24 hours was coming up. And she did talk to him earlier while I was there, and he was supposed to come by. He hadn't at that time. But my thought was to call him when I left to say, look, I need you to go hang out at mommy's while I'm at work, so she has someone around her. But I don't know when he would have got there. So, you know, me and my wife was talking. When I told her, she was just like, you know, it's just funny how the universe worked. As I was telling you also, like, you know, that 6 o'clock text kept me there longer than I would have been there. And then if I would have left, you know, we might be having a different conversation now. So, you know, she get to the hospital, and you know, now that she's been there 2 days now, and you know, they're working on her. I talked to her today, and her breathing's better. She sounds more coherent. She's eating solid foods now, and you know, she sounds stronger, but she's still having issues with um shortness of breath. Like when they take her off the oxygen, I guess like if she tried to move, she was like it kind of comes back, and then she still has the fatigue. And she said that her nurse said that is a part of what's, you know, a part of what's going on, you know, with COVID. That's like the two of the things that takes the longest to. dissipate or what have you. So thank you, wise feminine. Um, so we just keeping her in prayer, and I'm trying to talk to her at least once a day just to check in on her and make sure she's good. But but when I got off the phone, um, me and Jamal talked about around the time when his sister transitioned about why don't people uh tighten up, for the lack of a better word. What's going on, Flex? Um, when you see someone transition, like how come we don't really look at our lives and maybe look at what that person maybe transitioned from or what have you, and try to uh look at our own selves and straighten up some things in our own lives, or tighten up some things in our own lives. And like, I had an emotional moment when this happened, uh but then I had to pull myself together for, like, especially for like my brother, because my brother, he could be a little emotional, and not in like a weak way, but just when it's parental, um you know we all feel a way about that, I will believe. So, um peace, dark truth. So, I sat down, I got a quick, cry out, and then I had to have that talk with myself of, you got to tighten up, and tighten, like, and not like tighten up a lot of things, because I don't know what the future holds, and I know my mom, she's gonna need me to be in a good mental space, and for whatever's gonna be next after this. Prayers, she come back 100%, but she may need some help when she come back, just to get her, just have someone around her, just to make sure she all right, because she lives by herself. And then talking to my pops got some health issues going on, and talking with him, like me and my brother was telling him that he may need to, and that we want him to transition to, to move down here. So he's preparing some things to make that move in a few months, um because we need them both in the same place, just in case we have to take care of them. We just, we want them both right here. So it's just a lot going on right now. But I feel like when I start, because I'm a hindsight person also, I start looking back at things, and you know I've been saying it on this podcast probably since we started it, man. Like the prayer and meditation of getting back into that fold at the top of the year could have been the universe preparing me for this, and making sure I'm in a good mental space, and making sure that I'm ready for what could and I don't want to sound morbid here and all of that. I'm just going by what could possibly happen in this situation. So, because if this would have been like 10, 15 years ago or something like that, I my emotions probably would have been in a different place, because I was doing different things in my life. Now I'm sober. I don't have anything to run to. I don't have, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, I'm clear headed. But then getting into the prayer and meditation thing just really tightened me up mentally, um, on just general life anyway. So now with this, and then having a good support system, um, with my wife, family members that have similar situations. Um, my mom lost both of her parents, her father in 2000 and her mother in '09. Um, so I have her, one of my aunts, uh, she helped take care of my grandmother's sister, because she didn't have any children when she transitioned. So I got things in place to help me. People, would rather I say people in place, to lean on, to ask for some guidance. I have my brother, but you know, the plate is the mental plate is full along with what's going on around us, because being around my mom and her having that changed my family dynamic for a season. So, you know, when people talk about what they will do and not do, you got to be careful with that, because I'm one of those person that not only can speak for me. If I said never, never, never to something, that something that I said never to will pop up in my life. This almost like okay, here, like, okay, we'll prove you wouldn't. That's for me. I noticed that in my life for me. So, I don't know um what would what that means for anyone else, but I feel like you got to be careful with what you say you're gonna do and not gonna do. And and in this situation, I have my thoughts on what's going on in the world with this pandemic, but um and my thoughts haven't changed, but still, you have to you have to really be careful what you speak out, because I feel like these could circle back, and then you're gonna have to make a decision. So that's what's going on with me, man. I thank everyone for the support. Like I said, she's doing well. I spoke to her this evening, and like I said, she sounds way better than she sounded in the last week and a half. And I feel like um she's definitely getting better, and we'll just keep her in prayer, keep our spirits high. And when I came out of my prayer and meditation today, I took a hot shower, and like in the middle of my shower, I felt a calmness come over me. And and honestly, a jolt of energy. And as I got out the shower and got dressed, because I was getting ready to go clean my account, they were closing early today for the holiday, and they're closed on Monday, so I wanted to get it knocked out. The funny thing is, I got there and I only had to do one room. Like, no teachers came in because they did all their stuff on Thursday night, which I could tell because them trash bags was dumb heavy. Like, it was a lot of stuff in those joints. So I was like, yo, so when I went in there today, it was only one teacher left, and she was telling me, the reason she was there because she had to leave and do something and come back. So but everything else was like still clean from last night. So I was like, wow, so that was like a little low key blessing. And then I left and went and I hand washed my car. I haven't did that in a long time. Vacuum, hand wash it. And like I was telling my wife, I'm trying to keep a daily routine. I'm trying to keep my routine up. This is why I wanted to do the podcast tonight and kind of talk about it and let people know what's going on in real time. I wanted to keep everything flowing, like still going to the gym, because I know me, I can get into a sulk mode and don't want to do nothing, and then my mind would be racing and going different places. So I needed to keep a regular routine, and I went and washed my car, and after I got done washing my car, I called my mom, and she answered, and then we had a good talk, and and that's how today went. So we just take it a day by day. And if anybody got anyone that's going, any family member that's going through it, uh blessings to them. And I do pray, and I'll put one in the air for them. And that's what's going on with me, man.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely sending healing and positive energy from our vantage point down here in Texas. Um, and the title of the show is not. I want to say this is to not make mockery of these situations. It is a real time reality and assessment of the situations, plural, because now we see things getting closer, you know. Um, and it's not as philosophical now. It is very we're very much in the here and now. And we got two things converging right now. Um, just astrologically, we got the sun in Virgo, Mars in Virgo, eh, which is the here and now. What's going on right now? Opposing Neptune and Pluto. Well, what's beyond here? And then we got Venus moving into a square with Pluto. And Pluto is the underworld, death. Um, Possums are considered to be like underworld, nocturnal animals. Saw a possum dead on the street the other day, and I saw a big ass possum. I stay in a neighborhood with a bunch of Asians, and that's fucked up, ain't it?
Yeah, I was
But
like, where's he going? Tell me as I love him too, Brianna.
um, big ass possum was up on one of their fences
Hmm.
in the daylight. It's a nocturnal animal.
Yeah, that's different.
So sometimes I see these transits. I feel them and see representations of them early. Um, and I'm saying all that to say that I see it's all wrapped up in this, you know. Um, where be, it's no matter how much, if we want to say that our lives here are minuscule and it's just whatever, the reality is that we are being confronted with what is here and right now, whether it's an illusion philosophically or it's Maya, whatever, it's in our face. And and I just want to just to tie in, when we was at my sister's funeral, the ceremony, the preacher came down from my old church, okay, and me and my cousin, after the ceremony, we riding in the car going to get some ice because we going to the park because we had a good time at the park, you know. We danced, we shot dice, we
Oh wow.
we, we cooked on the grill, you know. My cousin was a pop locker back in the day. My other cousin Sean, he got out there and we got him to convince him to get out there and pop lock, and I mean we had a good time. But
Wow.
we talked in the car about how the preacher got up there and started talking about the typical funeral message. Y'all, we all gotta go one day. And when that day come and we gotta meet our maker, we just wanna hope that we such a and they'll say, well done, my good and I'm like, wait a minute. All the stuff going on in the world, and you took this opportunity to reinforce and double down on the fear. You know your time coming. You know all us gonna go. You
Right.
know, um, but you didn't take that opportunity to talk about what can we do while we're here. So you presented the uh, the dilemma of being scared to die
Mm-hmm.
and afraid to live. What a conundrum, you know. And PC Truth, peace MJ. Um, and what I think we're seeing this play out a lot is, what is it to be well?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, we are people who have been conditioned for survival. And that's whether you're, and first and foremost as black folk, and then as if you're not rich, if you're a commoner, if you're
Mm-hmm.
not a trust fund baby. So even beyond just being black, if you're not from wealth, many of us um
We're striving to get there, in a sense,
striving to get where.
like to a place of comfortability. And I think in that run to it, you may miss out on some regular things. You know, just think of the guy that want to work 80 hours a week. What is his diet like? How is that translated?
The truck
How's that?
driver.
Yeah, like how's that translating to your life over time? Because you're trying to get to a certain point in life. You know what I mean? There's been it seems there have been some um you know uh we're a goal oriented society. That's what we learn in school. And so when you if you don't come, like you said, from some affluency or an affluent family or what have you, your work is to try to get to a place of comfortability. That's what you're trying to do. And you'll do almost anything to get there. And one of the things you will neglect is your health, because I'll just get me a coffee and donut for breakfast, go to work. I got to get to the work. You're not thinking about, let me wake up a little, let me get up a couple hours early, maybe, maybe pray and meditate, maybe just get up early enough to cook you a healthier breakfast. But sometimes you're working so much, when you get home, you only got enough time to come home, maybe get a shower and go to sleep, and then you back at it. You got people that work 2 jobs. You know what I mean? That's not good in getting, proper sleep in that way. So, I don't know if that's where you was going, but that's what popped in my mind, is like pushing in the sometimes when you're pushing in the world, one thing you probably slack on is your health and nutrition.
Right. And I think too, wellness
Mental health.
has been stereotyped as something that rich people do. See, the way I this whole system is structured on um it's structured on perspective. Um, you know, at for common people, like you were saying, the goal is to get to a better financial position, because the lack that you experience becomes your God.
Mm,
And
yeah.
so we don't may not understand why that person we saw growing up in my city in North Asheville, who might have been making 60 grand back in the 80s, while they walked around with some old creeled over shoes, driving a Subaru with a canoe on the fucking roof. And and
Those old Subarus though, they last. Those old Subarus are
yeah,
some runners though.
you know.
Right.
And before we had a Whole Foods, they had a store called Green Life, and we never would even go in the parking lot. It was like we knew, shh, you don't go nowhere near this store, you know, because we knew we couldn't afford it,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know. So, but you would see them people coming out there with little brown bags and um, all the shit that we accustomed to now, because we can live in that world, but it was back then. And when you saw people with their mats and doing yoga and shit, and you like, what the hell? Um, and it was things associated with being wealthy. Um, and I think part of that is um, mental conditioning, to where we constantly thinking about survival. It's either survival, get the bag, or get entertained.
Hmm.
If I'm if I'm not working, I want to come home and I want to find something, the most mindless thing I can get involved in, just to take my mind away from my life, which is misery.
Hmm.
And then the another thing me and Dap talked about earlier is like, another thing too is that we have a stigma about education. And I want you got something before I take it here, before I take it to my theory.
Dig in, dig in. I probably have something for it also.
Okay, my theory is this. Everybody knows about the one of the things going on the internet about this guy who got jammed up with the cops, and he this known conscious quote unquote conscious guy, right? He gets jammed up in this situation. Then you got this chick down in Atlanta who is a government agent, who she's got this very popular gossip channel. Now, I think both of them are on the same team. Okay.
Okay.
Now, for people, common folk, that community or that movement that was started by with people like these names: John Henry Clark, Joseph Ben Yakinen, John G. Jackson, um, a man who wrote, damn, what's his name? Williams. I can't even think. I got his book up, but these people, Asa Hilliard, all these people, right? Now, these people were providing um, next level education,
Right.
education you could not get anywhere else. Okay, and now the people that we see now with the gold fronts and whatever, these caricatures are considered to be attached to those same people, right?
Hmm.
And so if you use those people to make it look like a clown show, then it helps to delegitimize all the work that came before.
Yeah.
Now, what does that have to do with this conversation tonight? I think this whole crisis that we're facing has nothing to do with what's being presented. It is ultimately to thwart consciousness. Consciousness is the most dangerous thing to an entity or society or group that is the antithesis to truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everything that is truth, they are against and they hate it.
Yes. And you can see it now. They're not, with this going on, there's no one on TV telling you to get healthy, telling you to change your diet. They just telling
No.
you to they just telling you to go get, you know, the thing. That's
Right.
it. So, and we don't want this video to get flagged. So y'all all know what we're talking about. But um yeah, because we were talking about that earlier too with the health thing. Like there's no one promoting at least in the mainstream to change your diet, start working out, take some supplements, help build up your immune system um to what's going on. They're just pushing, you know, shot to you, and that's it. And if you don't have the wherewithal yourself to say, okay, I need to do something different, then you may fall into that line of possibly going to do that. And the whole thing about it is, okay, if there was a little, some people, me and Jamal watched this podcast the other day, and, they said something to the effect of like, well, I don't even think they said it in this way, but well, no, they did say that it was like you're trusting a structure, something like, you don't trust this structure in any other time, but then you trust them for this. You know what I mean? Like you talk about all the issues the government has and policies they put out and what they're doing and not doing for society, but then you turn around and trust the same folk when they come to this vaccine or what have you, to put something into your body that hasn't been researched for the normal amount of time. And you don't know, and they don't even really know, and maybe they do and they not saying anything just because we're in this, quote unquote pandemic, but no one knows what no any side effects is from this thing. And so, it's like if you're not, it's like, okay, when this thing first jumped off, me and my wife started taking supplements, and we've been doing it for over a year. And she pulled something. She told me something the other night. She was like, we haven't been sick in a year and a half, and I didn't even really think about it because we don't normally get sick anyway. But it was like, but yo, like nothing really has popped up for real in a year and a half. And when this first kicked off, we started doing the supplements. I started going out walking. That fell off, but I still did the supplements. And and we eat relatively good anyway. And then we ramped that up. And then this past May I got a gym membership, and I'm doing that. So I feel like my immune system is in a good place. I feel like my cardiovascular system is in a good place. You know what I mean? I got some aches and stuff, but I think that's just along with age, but I don't really have anything crazy going on. And and me and my wife, we're not around anyone but family. Like we don't really, I don't have any outside friends for real here. I'm not from here, so I don't have like childhood friends or anything or high school buddies or whatever here. So, we're kind of isolated. And then we ramped up our health intake, like I said, with the supplements and in the way we eat. And we haven't had any issues. So, and I do wear my mask in certain places because this, just because I feel what I feel about the situation that's going on, I still know the game they play or feel like I have an understanding of the game they play, and I'm gonna, do what I need to do for me and mine. So when I'm out and about, I'll wear a mask. I'm not on some, I got this face diaper on and all of that. Like, nah, I do the mask thing, and then I'm back home, and and that's about it. But uh, you know, the whole thing with what they're trying to do as far as like killing consciousness, I think you're right on it. And they're also not promoting anything like health on the other side of it either.
Yeah, I
Going
want
through.
to finish this before I forget. The where I was going with this, with the
Yes, me too.
consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
is one of the things that came out of this movement was not so much telling you what to think, it was teaching you how to think and teaching you to think, period. Whereas you're talking about people who had mostly been led in different directions. Whether
Mm-hmm.
it seemed good or bad, it was being led, and it was not a lot of critical thinking. And there's a stigma amongst us as a collective, Black people, and on a greater scale, just people in America, period. Critical thinking is not popular. We are a fad driven society. And so there's a this thing about education. Like, I'm not talking about going to school and how many degrees, like real education. Because when you talk to somebody now, if they ain't on and they off, it's prime example. What's one of the most insulting things somebody can say to me is when I talk to them and I share something and they be like, yeah, you be reading, you you know, you it's brothers like you who be like, I'm gonna say, motherfucker, I don't need you to pat me on my back. I'm not telling you. What
Uh,
it is people like that, they use that as a tool to shut you up.
mm-hmm.
They think that if let me just tell him he's smart so he'll shut the fuck up. You know, like,
Yeah, you are silly. Ah.
it's like that's not why the fuck I'm telling you, motherfucker. I'm not telling you that for accolades.
Mm.
It is first of all, it's human nature to share.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We're communal by nature. Um then you feel like if you know certain information, it's your duty to let somebody you think like, okay, this my partner, this we cool. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, look, man, I think you're good people. I want to tell you something I think is gonna help you out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
MJ said, exactly, gotta just walk away. Super facts. You gotta just instead of walk away, you just gotta learn not to say shit. We're at a period now where you got to almost got to sit back and just watch people just what you say earlier. Um, she said something earlier like motherfuckers who don't get it just.
Oh, they gonna perish. You talk about my theoretical, my theoretical concept.
It was a damn. It wasn't no theoretical. It was a damning. It was a damning statement. It was just. It was. You be talking about my shit be harsh.
Yo, Cass is out. Listen, Cass is out of here. They're gonna fall by the wayside, And who's gonna be left is those who's done some type of research and who can and those who maybe listened to them and was like, okay, that makes sense. Let me dig in a little bit because it's gonna get to the point where it's gonna be too late. You know, somebody's gonna come up to you and be like, "What herbs you say eating? How much sea moss I need?" And all of that, and it's gonna be like too late, bro. You should have been doing this 5 years ago to build your body up, to build your system up. And now, whatever's going on in society and whatever they're bringing, your body is not going to be conditioned to fight it, and that's why you need to be doing it now. In my opinion,
That's right.
because if not, and something come online, all the people because all the people you talk to and all the people that know you got a library and you read these books, believe it, they come knocking on you. They coming to knock on your door. Bro, remember we was at the barbershop that day, and they emailing you and DMing you, and bro, what's that book you said I should get? Like, bro, one book ain't about to change everything. Like, you in the funnel, and guess what? You on your way out, and what's gonna be left? And like I was telling Jamal this, you know and just I had this theory. I'm like, okay, if we saying we got these elite people that bring things into the fold and all of that, and just say across the board, no one that's into understanding or trying to figure what's going on out, or trying to be, say if all of those people are knocked off, and those of the ones that did have that understanding stayed, then it's going to be us against them. But with whoever's left, you're still going to have continuity together. You know what I'm saying? So that means black, white, Indian, whatever. Like, if you got understanding, like, come on, man. Yeah, they gonna be scratching like, yo, you got more herbs? Like, nah. Like, listen, we listened to this dude named Yash, and when everything was going on, Yash was like, look, don't come, like, you should have been prepared for this. Don't come knocking on my door for a piece of chicken or nothing. I ain't giving you nothing. You should have been prepared. Now he'll get in this bag like, I've been telling you for months to be prepared, so you should have been ready for this. And it's like, people have stuff for their home. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might have a little extra, but listen, we don't have we don't have enough to do a village in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like people need to start getting, and the workout craze thing started years ago. And like, I seen that come online. And I think there's a lot of people working out, and I don't know if that's for vanity. I don't know if it's just, I just want to be in shape. I don't know what people, what their reasons are. And I don't know what they're doing outside of that. I know veganism is being pushed. I know a lot of this, plant-based meat and plant-based food is becoming big, and things like that. And it seems like the collective does want to do something different, and can see what's going on in society with eating meat and all of that type of stuff, and want to do something different. But we don't know if that's controlled opposition or not. We know Gates is involved with some I don't even, it may be a plant-based company. I remember watching him, and y'all could probably pull this up on YouTube if you type in Bill Gates and what's the gray-haired guy from CNN, Anderson Cooper. They were eating some fake food, yogurt, some oatmeal, and all of that. And Gates is behind this company. So yeah, man, health is wealth, as they say. Like, not to use no cliches, but health is wealth, bro. Like, this is the time to build up your immune system for what can possibly go on. And also just know, like, all the research you do, you're going to wind up being a resource for your friends and family. And you may not think so right now, but they're going to come to you because they're going to believe you have the answers. You know what I'm saying? And we said this before in a different podcast, that that's one thing about researching and all of that, is that you may be a resource for people, on a positive note, and on a serious note, that people may come to you for information, because you are studying and reading different things, and trying to figure stuff out. And not to say we have all the answers or anything, but that's just truth, as my man would say. That's just truth. So so let's get healthy, everybody. And like I said too, when y'all getting downloads to do something, I'll just end it with this. If you listen to your downloads, man, like Jamal always say this thing like something's gonna come online. Listen, if something's telling you to do something different, do that. Like whatever, and I'm talking positive difference. Like not I'm about to go get another joint or leave this joint and go bang that joint. Like I'm talking about if something like, yo, stop eating that and start eating this. Do that. Get you a treadmill. Go start working out. Go do that. Like that's the universe telling you, yo, you need to do something different to prepare for whatever's going on, in my opinion.
Yep. You know, back in the day, I used to train women up to to term. So train them up right to where they almost ready to drop the baby on the floor in the gym. And the basic rule was always this: you don't start a workout regimen when you get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you need to already be working out before uh, um, you get pregnant. Then you can continue that routine while you're pregnant. It'll make you have a more, help you have a more successful pregnancy and a healthier baby. You know, because basically, when a woman gets pregnant, her body's compromised because it's going to take nutrients from her to give it to the baby. The baby comes first. And so when we if we get some type of illness or a sickness, it's hard at that time to then like Tap say to come to somebody like, what's that book that you used to talk about? You
Yeah.
know, and have your fucking foot hanging off. You
Right.
know,
Right.
you want to, and see that's what I was getting at about trying to adopt the mindset of a wealthy people.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't have to have money to think in a wealthy manner.
Mm-hmm.
We have one thing that this system we live in can do is define what wealth is for us.
Mm-hmm.
When you in a certain economic stratosphere, you can tend to equate wealth with just money.
Yes, indeed. Yep.
And
Yep.
so if we start thinking, broadening and expanding our perspective of wealth, and it's like, wait a minute. I'm the inside of me is more important than what I'm putting on the outside of me.
Mm-hmm.
So let me start just taking a look and reassessing some of this stuff, um so that when something like this comes around, which is a form of biological, the rest,
Mm-hmm.
um, we can be a little better equipped to fight, you know, because it ultimately we have incarnated at a time where the planet and the beings on it are going through a shift.
Yeah, the planet on this get rid of folk too. Straight up. The planet
Yeah,
like but the planet shaking its tail. Okay, like okay,
yeah,
you guys been on here wilding for a while now. Straight up. Because I was just telling Jamal, with this Ida going around, this hurricane, like people live in a lot of low level areas. Like we're not really high up, you know. Uh History has told us that we stay around water, especially in the beginning portions of history before we have, this infrastructure we have now, because you needed the fish and you needed the water to aggregate, the land, and also to drink and all of that stuff. We're always going to be close to sustenance and things like that. And they created lakes and creeks and all of that from big bodies of water so we could spread out further into the country, and it's like this all over the planet. But when I was looking around, I'm like, these things happen every year. When we had the big hurricane 4 years ago, I think 4 or 5 years ago, probably like no, maybe 3 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, maybe the last big hurricane that hit North Carolina pretty hard. Because I was Ubering at the time, so it had to be like 3 years ago, 3 years ago. I can't remember, but I was listening to the radio in between a trip or something, and they had someone from the state government talking, and he was telling people, listen, you got to move away from the coast. He was like, this is going to happen every year. All you're going to do is rebuild your house, rebuild. You don't know how a hurricane is going to hit. We have a hurricane season. And also what he was saying is that every time we have a hurricane, it pushes the land back in a sense, meaning no, it erodes the coast a bit. So that means the ocean is getting closer to inland every time that we have some type of hurricane or whatever. So he was telling people to move, and people, I'm not moving. I've been here all my life. And it's like, for whatever reason, as humans, we have a hard time adjusting also, because we don't see a situation that can happen yearly and say, okay, I might need to move a little further inland. I'm not saying you got to go to another state, but if the town you live in is in a hurricane lane, and every year you gotta, you're losing things, and then you gotta rebuild your house and all of that, like it might be time to move further inland. Same area but just further in. But we just want to stay. And I get it financially. And I know it's broader than what I'm saying, because I know people live in situations and jobs and things of that nature. I understand that, but that's where adjusting your life come in at, especially if you have a certain age. Now, if you're up in your 60s, 70s, retired, and I don't know what your family situation is. I know there's other scenarios, so I'm not just saying get up and move, but there has to be a time of planning and trying to figure it out, is what I'll say, to the best of your ability.
Well, when it comes to floods, there's some things.
Yeah, I believe that too, UL. The world is reacting as people get more and more disharmonic. Yeah.
We are there were okay, I've talked about this a few times, and just to reiterate, every 165, 66 years, Neptune and Jupiter conjunct in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is water, okay? And Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces, and Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces. And you got both are going to be in their domicile in April of 2022. Okay. What we're seeing is the lead up to that conjunction. What I mean is a lot of water.
Mm.
So the last time they were conjunct in Pisces, you had, if you pay attention, they keep talking about the Hurricane Ida is the most destructive since the Great Flood of 1856 or the Great Storm.
Oh,
And
really?
and it,
I didn't hear that.
yeah, 1856 they wiped out an island off the coast. Well, an island that was there close to New Orleans. It
Mm.
buried
In
it,
the
and I
Gulf.
think that might be what Bro Williams might be referring to. It was 1856. That same year, there was a flood in was this France? The Allier Bridge. Yeah,
Why is
late.
filming? Why is filming in Galveston? Was it
Well, that might maybe it happened there too, but this was over by New Orleans.
allegedly?
Um, so late May, early June, 1856 was marked in France by a sudden and massive rise in the water levels of major French rivers. Okay. Then here's one in Monona County. Um, um, this says Monona County's extraordinary landforms make for some beautiful sights in vulnerable conditions. With the western border of the county up against the deep and wide Missouri River, and as a consequence, the western half of the county in the Missouri River floodplain, it is no surprise that one out of 20 original sections of the county were patented under the 1847 Swampland Act. Now that's very interesting. This Swampland Act. That's for another conversation, but yeah.
That's on that
Then
Michelle Gibson tip.
yeah. Then here's another flood here. This one is in, I think this is in Africa. Further north in KwaZulu and Mozambique. It is unquestionably those caused by cyclones that are known to be the most punishing. Yeah. This is the raging sea gale of April 1856 had brought, oh, this is Ireland, I think, Durban. So basically, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. So all over the world, there were these massive floods when Jupiter um, um, was conjunct Neptune in Pisces. And Yoel said something earlier about the consciousness. Well, Pisces is the sign of consciousness, the collective consciousness. And
Mhm.
there is something to that about if you can shift the tide of the collective consciousness, it does affect literally our environment.
Mhm.
And so what astrologers never talk about online is how astrology can be nefariously used.
Mhm.
If you understand the electromagnetic fields that will permeate our where we live at a certain time, then you can tap into those and encourage certain energies to unfold. Because the average person is walking around completely unaware of what's going on all around us. And so we can get grabbed very easy. And so if you couple what's going on, we're already inside of heavy Piscean energy. We're at the end of the Piscean age, which anytime you get towards the end of an age, the energy becomes more acute. So you got all this is coming to a head right now. So I think it, just something to
Lady Owl said
think
something
about.
interesting. She said, we are due for another world eclipse in the next 2 to 3 years. That's why they need us to all go back to sleep. And then she asked you to look up the next world eclipse. But
The next world eclipse. Okay, bet.
yeah, because we do one thing we know for sure is that the elite of the time we're tapped into astrology and numerology and those things and we heard the stories about John D and even supposedly Nancy Reagan dealing with an astrologer and all of that for Ronald and stuff like that. And I remember watching the and this don't really have anything to do with astrology, but well, in a sense, I guess it does. Remember, I was telling you I was watching the Financial Channel one time, and they were talking to a hedge fund. I think he was like a hedge fund guy or something. And this dude had a Buddha sitting on the top of his bookshelf. You know what I'm saying? Like, so cats are tapped in, and we know they're tapped in, but we have to be tapped in. We have to get tapped in to some understanding of what's going on around us and not be fooled by, you know, the rumblings in the street. You got to look past that because, div- divide and conquer has been their game for the longest. And it's like, we should know that play by now. I mean, some people still fall for it, but, you know, that's the play we should understand at this point. Brother Williams said that's why after that great storm called Hurricane Camille, they built the seawall to keep it from flooding the island.
Something else to
Not
keep
enough
in
ice.
mind.
Yeah, Everglades empty and gators and back. Whoa.
Something else to keep in mind is that as late as the 1600s, most of the so-called U.S. was swampland.
Mm-hmm.
This was all wetlands. Um, I got
Especially on
the
the east, New York. Yeah.
so what
Said like on the east too, like New York was swamp,
I'm
supposedly.
talking the whole U.S. Like
Okay.
over 200. There was over 200, 2 to 300 acres, 2 to 300,000 acres conservatively of swamp. I'm trying to see April 8th. This the United States gets two back-to-back solar eclipses. October 14, 2023, April 8th, 2024. I want to see if this is where Pluto. Oh yeah, ain't that a bitch? So Pluto, when these eclipses that Lady Owl mentioned, by the time Pluto, by the time the second one on April 8th, Pluto would be at 1 degree of Aquarius. Now that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Now, you know, because everything has been talking about reset, 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 reset. Now, if we try to think about this metaphysically, if all this water's coming, and I believe it is coming, And whether now the question is whether it will be um, artificially produced or naturally. You know, there'll be a tug of war there between that, but I feel like it's coming. Now, when a baby's gestating, it's in water and basically seawater. Now, we might have the tale of two resets going on here. One cosmic, natural, organic, and the other artificial. Um, because in the Sibley chart of the United States, Pluto is at between 26 or 28 degrees of Capricorn. So when Pluto moves into 21 degree of Aquarius, that's a reset. That's a cosmic reset. And maybe it represents a new baby supposed to be born.
That's what it looked like Lady Owl said.
Yes, MJ, that's right. You did. When we did our reading, you said, I feel like we have a grace period. She said, I feel like we have about a year and a half to 2 year grace period. Yeah. Yeah.
So according to that logic, you got 2 years to tighten up, possibly. In real time. Just start doing what you gotta do now. Because it's only gonna get the longer we live, the crazier it's gonna get. And what we see in society, in my opinion, is just the start. So um she just now listen, look at that. You was just talking about that, wasn't you?
Hit
You was
it on
just
the
talking
head.
about that. You
Hit
was
it
just
on the
talking
head.
about that. You know, gather a
Yeah.
tribe, like-minded people. That yep. We've been
Yeah.
talking about that before. Me and Jamal, before we even started this podcast, was talking about that for a couple years now. Like, and guess what? There's people doing it too. Because I told him this story. When I was Uber and I met this lady, I dropped her off, and where she lived at used to be they had redid this area in Raleigh where she lived at. They had put all these apartments and homes here, and they were nice homes and apartments. And she was like, me and my family are pooling all of our resources together, buying some land and building homes on the land. And I was like, wow. And y'all probably heard in the news also about that family in Atlanta that bought all that acreage, and they're moving on their land. So that's a part of what's happening also. People, you're gonna have small little communes, you know. Uh I think people are I know we speak broadly, but I believe people do have they do see what's going on. I still feel like you're gonna have a lot of people that perish, but you also have those people that's like, okay, they kind of see what's going on, and they're getting they're gathering information from other people, and seeing how feasible the information is for them to do some of the things that they hear talked about. And I believe people are attempting to do things, man. Most
Yeah.
definitely.
I think one thing too is that you we, we're in the Aquarian age. So you always talk about analog, but I think what we got to do is find a way to create an analog reality within an Aquarian world.
Mm-hmm.
So like right now we have people who are like all over um the country, right? Spread
Mm-hmm.
out. Um but the one way we are have connected is through an Aquarian Uranian um method tool is the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So now there's a need to form something back in just to where people can, um, interact. Because the thing about it is, you just you don't know who the hell is really, really, as you say, it's some fucking noodles out here. You know,
Right.
um, um, but I always feel like if we incarnated at this time, then it's for a reason. You
Yeah.
know, um, it
And,
it it
and
is.
people getting their superpowers and people getting they listen, man. If you in our age bracket, like that lady said in that book, 72 through 84, you know, listen, man, you're I know I'm not the only one that get downloads. So I know other people are. And it's time to tap in.
Yeah, and be on your purpose. I'm finding myself like when I'm and, and, and this is not no plugging. This just ties into our conversation. When somebody reads for you, whether it's they're gonna pull tarot cards or they're gonna or it's a read your palm or they're going to read your birth chart. That person is what you're getting is the interpretation of the data through the lens that that person sees the world. So as objective as you try to be, it's impossible to be completely objective because you see the world through subjective lenses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when I'm reading for people, I can't help but put emphasis on their sixth house, your house of service. And see, this is what I'm getting at. I think we're at a time right now where what's in your sixth house and what's in your 11th house is of utmost importance to look at. Okay, your sixth house is the work you do. In Zen Buddhism, it's the chopping wood, carrying water aspect of your existence. It is what's your service for the collective? And I think that's something for all of us to be pondering. How can I be of service? You know, how can the work that I do be of service? And then the 11th house is what we're talking about right now. What's my tribe?
Yeah.
Who is my tribe? Where is my tribe? What is my role in my tribe?
Mm-hmm.
Because the sixth house is the last house where it's about you, but it's preparing you to be about us. The 11th house then is where you get to, well, how do we function cohesively coherently. And if I dare say, where I might even entertain some type of utopian idea, you
Mm,
know, is there some kind of way that we can have some type of peace or this and that, you know, amongst this little small group that I vibe with? That's where that mindset. And so I want to just throw that out there. 6 and 11. You know, look at your chart and be thinking 6 and 11. You know, because 11 is the Aquarian house. We are in the Aquarian age. The sixth house is the preparation for the Aquarian house.
mm. Good stuff. Oh, this is what's making this. Mm. Mushrooms comprise of okay applications. Yeah. Oh, that's dope, Flex.
Right on, Flex.
Yeah, they was bugging off the noodle comment. Top Raymond. Wet noodle. Uh yeah.
I want to say this too, man. Um, don't stop living too. All right, see truth be easy. Thank you for tuning in.
PC Truth. Hope your headache dissipate.
Um, it's very tedious times. It's like, we consider all the things around us, but I think it's important to like keep living, you know. Cause I'm gonna tell you, down here in Texas, these motherfuckers keep building. They keep building. They keep building highways. They keep building apartment after apartment.
Yeah, and it's like they're doing the same thing here, bro. It's so much construction, and it's gonna be going on for the next 5 to 7 years. And that's just highways. That's not even talking about structures they're building, and they're building so many because we got Apple coming here in the year. I think Google have something coming here. So cats is on their bird, man. They rubbing their palms, bro. Like they building so quick because on the news they be like, they're bringing 300 jobs and they're gonna average 100 and something thousand a year, and it's like, people are hopping on the train, fam. Like developers is just throwing apartments and homes up all over the place down here. And I seen that highway be worked on, and I get it. You're doing some reworking, and I know it takes a lot. But I was on my way to Durham the other day, when my family was here, and I was showing him around. And I swear, they're just now finishing the road that they probably started working on in 2013, 14. No, it was before. Nah, yeah, like 20. No, like 20, yeah, 2014, 13, 14. They're just now finishing. And I'm like, man, like like they've been working on this for like 10 years. And it's another road they've been working on for about the same amount of time. I think they just opened it a couple, maybe 2 years ago, and they've been working on that road from when I first moved down here in 2010. So I don't know, man. It's like
Well, we got
all
to.
it's like something always got to be going on. Straight
Well,
up.
you got to peep the magic though.
Double back on that.
Pluto
Mm.
Pluto will ingress Aquarius in 2024. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Pluto is the planet, is the raw power of transformation that goes on beneath the ground. It's the Lord of the underworld. So if you want to be around and you want to be present and relevant in the new world, then you want to start projects that will complete in the new world. So if you keep building and keep building, they're working their Pluto.
Mm.
They're saying they're putting the energy forward. Remember, we're living inside of a Piscean pool right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we drive down our highways or our roads and we see them, they keep building, we keep building. And then our
Mm-hmm.
minds, naturally, we've been ingrained to think that represents progress. So you got to think you're Bruce Lipton. We then
Right.
put the frequency out there in our environment to like, hey, we're still growing, you know? And then they're projecting it over into that 2024 when this has moved, this we are officially into the Aquarian age, and they have written themselves into it. And they're gonna up the ante from now till then about all rundown areas will now be brought up because that's the whole science of letting the inner city and urban, quote unquote, urban areas become run down. They're working their Pluto. You got to let it decay. So you bring people in there, let it decay, and then you run them out, and then magically somebody comes, this group of developers comes, and they then appear like Jesus. Well, a group of people, developers, want to come into the southern sector and they want to just reinvigorate their economy. They're going to bring hotels, they're going to bring condos that
Yo, cause that's the new move.
none of you motherfuckers can afford to live in.
Yes. They building a thing out here called Felton. It's called Felton, North Carolina. It's in Cary. This place gonna have retail, uh residential, and companies will be able to place their companies there. Companies will be able to lease uh uh property there. And it's a small tight, they got little renderings of it. And that's the new pop-up. It's like a city within a city where you can eat, shop, and sleep in a small area. Tight. Now, it's not gonna have everything you need, but it's gonna have most of what you need. And it's for higher end folk. You know what I mean? Because the apartments are gonna be pricey. And so it's like a new hub for the elite possibly, or those of some affluency or what have you. But yeah, a lot of things that they building, bro, is like it's not even affordable what they're building.
Mm-hmm.
Wise Feminine said everywhere. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Flex said if he had the money, he would invest in hotels. Um, yeah, man. Like, yeah. And listen, and cats that got money, they eating. And this is why everybody's doing this Bitcoin thing, hoping this Bitcoin thing take off, because they want to be the new, not knocking people getting money or nothing. I'm just speaking in general, man. Like coming out of this society, going into a new one, people want to have an upper hand. People want to, they don't want to be what they were in this society, in the new society. But what they don't understand, the new society, it's all about, in my opinion, it's about knowledge, and it's about taking to the old 5% move: knowledge, wisdom, and understanding.
Hey, just real, because that made me think something real quick. Look, I know most of the people who are gonna be listening on this is already up on this. Um, be on
Yes,
your
lady.
books.
My bad.
Get your library in. Um, get your library fortified.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tell you why. There's a lot of trickery going on with books right now. I've been saying this for about 5 years, and it's amping up. Books are disappearing, and if there is some type of reset, um, then if you come back out into a new world,
It's gonna be
guys,
the
they go.
book of Eli.
I was about to say the Book of Eli.
It's gonna be the book of Eli. Straight up. That's
Book
gonna
of
be the
Eli.
real economy.
Yeah, yeah. You know, because there's going to be a lot of forgetfulness.
Yes.
You know, uh,
And we know who's gonna have things so they don't forget.
hmm
So you gotta build, this is why when I first moved down here, and I told you this, um, I came across this bookstore in the flea market. And it wasn't really a bookstore. It was, he had books in there, but he sold other things too. But it was called Zion Gates, man. And I remember walking in there. He had all the books I heard people talking about, pretty much, and I was just buying them because in my mind it was like, yo, I don't know how long this is gonna be around. And guess what? That flea market wind up being bought out. Somebody wind up turning it into a I think it's like a North Carolina food bank something now. Like they bought that, turned it into something else. And my man, he wind up going to, I think he went to Atlanta, but he would come up here periodically to like come to the, he would go to the rent a booth at the state fairgrounds, because every year, I mean not every year, but every Saturday, well every weekend, unless there's something going on there, they have like a flea market set up. But I had the wherewithal to just buy those books. Like every time I had the extra money, I was just buying one book, two books at a time. And I'm glad I followed that thought, because I would have missed out on a lot of opportunity. Putting it off. I'll get it next week. I'll get it next week. I was on the book buying spree, bro. And that was the beginning of starting my library. You know what I'm saying? So I think you're right. Listen, just when you're on Amazon and see it, if you can get it, just get it. It doesn't mean you got to read it right then and there. Jamal turned me on to something too. He was like, treat your library like a library. Like go pull from it when you need it. It's not like, you have to read everything in there. Like, you might be just sitting there one day and grab something. It's like when you go to Barnes and Nobles and looking around. Like you're not gonna read the whole section you're looking in, but you're looking for that one piece and that sticks out to you, and you grab it, and you read a couple pages, and it might pull you in. You're like, okay, let me grab this. So that's the same thing with on Amazon, you know, um, or digitally or what have you. And if you're doing stuff digitally, I would say get you an external hard drive and save your stuff to that also, um, so you can have it digitally, and that will work whether you got the internet or not. because you could still pull up stuff off your external and then have your book digitally too. So so if you can't do it in the physical, do it digitally and then save your books on a backed up hard drive, and that way you will have that. Um, but yeah, I'm with building up that library, man. That's a major thing.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, my wife said, yeah, we had a family member come through, and she was showing him the library, and she was like, "This is our how-to section, and we have a how the moonshine section, or like it was just
That's
funny.
right.
Our books is kind of like Brianna set it up, where it's like uh, it's sectioned in a sense. Um, so yeah, that was because he was here, he was like, "Yo, man, I need to get my library up," and it's like, yeah, bro, because like you said, man, once things go down, people gonna quickly forget, and you're gonna need to jog your memory, and
Mm-hmm.
and if not, um, yeah, if not, it's gonna be hard because it's gonna be a narrative. Like there's narratives now, so just imagine, you know, when things hit the fan or whatever comes online, the narrative is gonna be real crazy. Gonna be real.
Yeah.
My people will be so proud.
Yeah, but
You're funny, Brianna. Oh man. Making some oil. Hey man, I ain't had a drink off of these woods in 15 years. How can we make something? I need a little buzz.
women's physique.
Lady Al says she has canning books, garden books. Yeah, we got some of those books too. Um, Homestead is all kinds of metaphysical, you name it, sections. You know, and the funny thing, like when you get into the information, you start seeing that all this stuff has really been around. Is how to farm, like all of these things have been around. Is my wife did a raised garden last year, two raised gardens, and like all the like it's always been around us, bro. And that's what I'm saying about like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's another thing about mainstream. The mainstream does not push anything positive.
Nope.
Like they don't talk about farm and they don't talk about health. All they talk about is this is the new diet craze, the Atkins diet.
Yeah.
This is the new diet craze, keto.
Yeah.
Uh 1 year coffee's bad for you. The next year coffee's good for you. Like I
Yeah.
swear, like being in the 24-hour age, people are looking for content to have something on the internet. Like I'm like, where's all this coming from? You know, dark chocolate's good for you. Then dark chocolate gets bad for you. Dark chocolate with cherries is good for you. And then it's not good for you. It's like all these things, and then and now because we're in the age of the internet, and everybody need to have something on because they're scared they're gonna be forgotten. It's just constant stuff on like it doesn't turn off, bro. Like they used to say that when cable first came out, like 24-hour news channels and stuff. And it's like you, people got to find content. People, and now with the internet and YouTube, now everybody can be a content creator. Yo, we're overwhelmed, bro. Like I used to think we was just overwhelmed with how many McDonald's is around. But now we're overwhelmed on a scale on so many different levels that you have to stay in the house and what they call it, you have to not recharge, but I forget what I can't think of what I'm trying to say, but pretty much like disconnect. You know, your house is about to be your temple for real. Because there's gonna be so much going on outside and so much going on there's so much going on outside and on the internet and on the news. Like decompress is what I was thinking. You gotta sit in your house so you have to make your house comfortable. That's what me and Brianna's doing in our apartment. We're changing furniture. We got candles in pretty much every room. We do aromatherapy. We're making our home our sanctuary. We have the library. We have good food to eat. We have water to drink. You know, I haven't had juice since May. That's big for me. I was a Simply Orange product nut. Everything Simply Orange. You know, and I haven't had, only thing I've had is like LaCroix, and I'll get a Gatorade Zero when I go to the gym. You know what I'm saying? But I'm mostly water. And I'm on my no coffee for September right now. So, but your home is gonna have to be your sanctuary, and then you got to make your home comfortable. So we're moving furniture. We're getting some chairs redone. We're gonna get a different couch, and we're making our home our sanctuary. Because I posited a while back, especially when COVID popped in, think about it. Nobody's really at home other than sleep because there's so much to do outside the home. You know, I look around, I see a lot of people, they go to work, then after work, they link up for dinner, right? Dinner and drinks, that's a thing. And then you do that for a few hours and decompress from work and talk shop about work or whatever else. You spend about another 2-3 hours out. When you come home and shower, go to sleep, wake up and go back at it the next, you ain't really been home. You don't really be at home like that unless you're a homebody. But for the youth and people in that mid-age sector, those 20s, early 30s, they kind of moving around. They want to know they're living in society. For those of us that's older, we kind of past that. You know, our home is our sanctuary, so we have to make our home comfortable.
Brianna said, which none of that is survival stuff. Well, it's mental survival, I think. You know.
Yeah, it's clarity of your mind.
Because I think one of the big things been jumping off now is people can't stand the people they living with. They can't stand their mate, can't stand their kids, can't stand their house.
Yeah, I told you about the lady that would come to the parking lot at where I clean at, and I seen her one day. I'm like, I'm just because I'm leery, you know. I'm out. Why you in this parking lot park? And she seen me kind of looking over there. Then she rolled down her window and was like, I'm just over here because I had to get out the house. I had to get away from my children for a little bit, and I just come over here and play some games on my phone. And I was like, oh snap. Like, wow. You know, and not just listen, man. Listen, I'm not saying your children can't be overwhelming. Like, I get it.
Shit.
But it's just like people, as much as we be saying, I guess people need space, man. You know, they need space. No matter how much because we come into this thing by ourselves. So sometimes you just need to be with self, and that's what that lady was doing. She was like, I just need to be with self for a minute.
I kill one of these little sons of bitches.
Yeah, because it's like, she had them. I want to say she had them. They were home. They was doing virtual, so they home all day. She was like, I need a. So let me go over here and just get a breather. Then come back in and go at it. So, but yeah, man, that's all I had, bro. You know, I just
Yeah,
want to say just real quick, man. Thanks for letting me share about what I shared about. Thanks for letting me share with what I shared earlier. And for those that was here, like I said, if y'all into meditating and prayer, please put one up for my family. And I would greatly appreciate it. And you know, I'll keep everyone posted. And yeah, man, this was therapeutic for me. Like I said, I want to keep a regular routine. Um, because I know even though my default isn't to go out and have a drink or smoke a blunt or whatever, I know my mental default is to get into my mind and get lost in that. So, you know, uh, I thank y'all for chiming in, and uh, and yeah, man, just keep me and my family in your prayers and your meditations.
for sure. Yeah, man. Glad that Mom Dukes is, making improvement.
Yeah,
We you know, um we send healing vibes that she keep making more improvements, and you know, and that because we know this is something that's for a lot of us, sickness and death is touching a lot of families.
right.
Sure enough, touch mine, and and the last step for my sister was send her to the hospital was breathing issues,
Hmm.
you know, and uh that's for another conversation, just about this whole thing about the respiratory, you know. Um,
Good night, Niaz.
Good night, Niaz, young lad. Um,
Thanks for hanging out, buddy.
but yeah, but we're gonna come back and chop it up again. And I just want to say I'm working on trying to put out more content myself, um, juggling and balancing. Um, uh, and for us to stay more consistent on the podcast. But hey, we got real lives and shit.
Hmm.
Um, um, Another thing is that um, I wanna. I think everybody can benefit from learning how to read their own chart. Uh,
Maybe we should do a class on that, bro. Maybe you could do a class on that.
um, yeah,
We can download our charts, and then if people have them, and I don't now, you know what? Maybe that's something we could do offline, like on a Zoom joint, where people can, you know, have their chart in front of them, get it printed out, have it in front of them, and then kind of ask you what what I'm saying, just to get a basis off you, and then offline use that as as a way to start a studying, and then maybe look at some other people's stuff or whatever. But um yeah, and do that. Maybe that might be something.
yeah. Well, where I was going is I'm working on something. I'm gonna continue like doing things. When we have these when we get together doing things like we looked at the people's charts last week. But uh, I know Wise Feminine, um, somebody else said something about um, an ongoing thing, like reading. There's so many elements to in the chart. There's a lot of shit I don't know
Okay.
straight up. I'll be learning until I croak. Um, so it's an ongoing thing, but I'm working on doing something um, to where it's basically like this. I'm at a funny place in life. 3 years ago, I used to do classes and things, and I really wanted to do it, but it was not the time. Now is the time I'm supposed to be doing it, and I'm more hesitant to do it because I don't want to, I don't want to start, and then it's like, damn, I ain't got time to put another segment up, and but this is the time. Um, so I'm thinking about doing something for maybe a couple of bucks, and it's going to be an ongoing thing about deep dive into astrology from as much as I know thus far, and I'll keep sharing as much as because I'm in a, I'm in Rain Man mode right now.
Mm.
Um, it's I can't even. It's a lot of shit. I just can't even. Like when we talking, I'm trying to put my thoughts, and I'd be sounding like Yash and shit. Like I'm
Yeah.
in that mode where it's a lot, but I'm still. If you all enjoy, I don't know how last week. Well, then last time we did it, we was looking at charts. Like if that's something that everybody, we can still do it on here. But
Okay.
the actual learning of the rudimentary components, I'm gonna start doing something, you know, like the numerology, how numerology ties into how your charts laid out and shit like that. But but and but that's all I got, man. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay. I wrote that name down, Lady Owl. Is this guy on YouTube?
Patrick Davis. Okay, I'm gonna look him up later, Al. Bet. Okay. Wise feminine know him too. Okay, bet. We're gonna look him up.
Yeah, I'm gonna check him out. See what he doing.
So you got something new you want to take it out with that?
Uh, let's see. I call this the state or the librarian.
think I can spit to that. Flex said, sound like a late night mission in all black. Yep. Yep. That's right. That's diabolical.
When I heard you say, "Yeah, I can do something," I said, "Oh yeah, something caught him."
Yeah. Yeah. You said.
Yeah, I call that the state or the librarian, and it's like, what are you gonna listen to? The state of the librarian. You're the librarian, or you got the state, which is the the state you live in. What are you gonna do?
You know, man, before we close, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you where I'm at in life. I'm going through. You know, you went into your conversation about the midlife crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically, you're a little outside of yours. You've kind of passed it from the numbers standpoint.
Right.
Technically, I'm at the I'm right at the thick of mine.
Mm.
Uranus opposing Uranus. Uranus and Scorpio natally opposing Uranus and Taurus. 11 degrees. Right now, Uranus is at 14, retrograde, heading back towards 11 degrees. Now, what the fuck does all that have to do with the price of tea in China? I feel, you know what I want to do? I don't want to do nothing but read and study all aspects of astrology, do readings, study charts, and I want to make music.
Yeah.
I want to make music. You know, I want to make enough to where I don't have to, and I want to teach. You know, I'm sitting listening to that beat. I'm like, it's always got to be on the back burner. You know, oh, I like that beat. Oh, yeah. I get around to writing to it. You know,
Yeah.
well, you see those cats who they in music for a living and like, I'm having writer's block or I'm having trouble with
COVID got
this. Or,
me. COVID got me out of my sorts. I can't come up with nothing. And it's like, damn, you're a creative. I
Cobra
know
got
I know you're human, but you're a creative. Hmm.
You got one more? Let's close it out on this one.
Just playing with some chops. This is something I started. I call it intricate details. Yeah, this is gonna be something, and it's gonna.
I like that.
That's where, yeah, that's where it gets dismal at.
Yeah.
Zoom, 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 zoom. Yeah, intricate details. It's the name of that beat.
Yeah, I like that. Yo, we're looking for a videographer. If anybody know one, just throw that out there.
Yeah, yeah. If y'all know somebody that does that, we need that. Most definitely. We got
But
these concepts in our mind. Yes, indeed.
yeah. Um, wait till y'all hear moving silhouettes.
Yeah, that's gonna be way different than I think anything we've put out so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
That beat's different.
Young E, man. Appreciate you, good brother. You know what it is. Always. Appreciate you. Um Why Cinema said, when is it dropping? I'm gonna tell you what. I'm ready to put out this album. I'm ready to put out Monaco Visions, and so Monaco Visions and oh, she said the dude over at Voodoo Diva is a videographer. Okay, bet I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna check him out too. Voodoo Diva. Um, I'm ready to do this transformative moments. I was thinking of that.
Yo, transformative moments is these next few pieces we have coming out, Monaco Visions, transformative moments, are gonna be page turners. Transformative moments is gonna be an album when y'all look at when y'all look at the time of these tracks. You first of all, when you look at it, you're gonna be like, okay, what is going on here? And then when you hear it, it's just gonna one day we're gonna just I think one day maybe we should just do a listening a 45-minute listening session
Yeah.
of, of the instrumentals in succession of how they're gonna line up on the album. And we'll play and we'll play one track, let it go through, we'll stop, and you can add in about where you was going lyrically. We'll play the next one, and then we'll play the title song, which is a monster, transformative moments. And one day we're gonna talk about the concepts behind these beats, and one day we're gonna sit down and just have a powwow about where we were at when we were doing these things. And I like looking back in hindsight, because then you start seeing like little through lines to how it built up. You know what I'm saying? because we've already come to. I was going through a transformation while making transformative moments, like and not even really being uh not even knowing it at the time. So yeah, yeah. But we gonna play these instrumentals for y'all. We already played Monaco Visions for y'all a while back, the instrumentals, but we gotta play transformative moments for the people, and then let you talk about the lyricism. Even though the lyrics won't be on the beats, but still, you could just, maybe run off a couple bars or something, or run off a part of the beat that got you excited and give them a few bars on it or something like that. But yeah, it's just um, like I said, Monaco Visions, we ready. We just formulating the money, and then that will be out. So that's the next thing to come out, or at least we want to come out. But yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be soon. It's gonna be soon because you know, because it is. Just leave it at that. Just leave it at that. Uh, yeah. But Opus 10.
I wish I could.
Yeah.
I wish I could hear where I be getting these pieces from. One day I'm gonna just do a breakdown. I'm gonna show y'all the record. I'm gonna show y'all what I pitched it to. Like I'm gonna do a real in depth thing, so you can see how I get these sounds.
Man, this Opus 6, I ain't looked at this in a long time.
That goes in the
Mm-mm.
chamber.
Yeah, this is the last time I wrote on this was August 18th, 2020.
Mm.
Mm-mm-mm.
That's finished? That's finished, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
done.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's been a year. You said
that's
August?
yeah, yeah, a year since I last
Wow.
wrote on that.
Wow.
Would you please Lego your ego is the sentiment my soul echoes. Man, I'm so high and Doc Jekyll still don't hear the heckles from the nosebleed seats. Each bar contains heat, like delta to chemical equations matter meets. The magician's threshold is sweet. This is manna my body take eat. My blood now drink. Iron the vital force. Shungle take seat. Cumble with swisher sweets. Old school Sansa one pleat. Night rider, sunglass, black fleek. East up all light so you can see all bright. Madeline, Magdalene, Marion, Shook Knight, boss type, no height, no cap when I write. My dome, skyscrape, high tower, my power, my hour, white sour color seats in their range. Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm feeling that urge to feeling that urge.
Hold on, hold on, hold on. Ah, we got it. Yeah, bro, that joint. Whew, that joint.
Mm-mm-mm.
Let's see something. Because the people, you know, we want to get y'all high quality. We want to get y'all high quality.
And it's funny, I was still blowing when I first started writing this. It's funny, you go back and read some of your old stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I first started writing on this in like 2019.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. As I was about to say, I thought you was done, but yeah, 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 you right. Mm.
What you trying to?
Giving them a quick taste before we hop out of here. I know you gotta go, but waiting for yeah, there we go. Because people gotta understand what an opus is.
You gonna play that Opus 6, the start of that?
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny you had told me about the Range Rover with the, the steering issue.
Oh, with the about having to get those control arms.
Yeah. I say high tower, my power, white sour, colored seats in their range. When my niggas say the steering bad, take the reins. Kidney drains, water that could be toxic to the mind feel to be entertained. A detonated synagogue of Satan keeps souls sleep sedated. Automatons run on automation, guy gumption. To talk slick like the tip of my Dick Cheney politic, Lee Haney swole tight. I want to hear how this beat come in. Would
I
you
had to find.
please?
I had to find the. Okay, open that. Give me 1 second. 1 second. I'm almost there. Cause this is named something different. Clifford Lamb. Clifford Lamb.
Do I have? Let's see. Let's see.
All right, I got it. Oh, come on.
Can't hear it.
You can't hear that?
Nah, it's low. That piano. Yeah.
See how the beats flow into each other, y'all? This is an opus.
Uh-oh. Lady Al put some bars on here. Hey, I want to show y'all why we type out our lyrics on Bandcamp, and why it's called Think Music. This song that he playing, there's a bar. It says, Shema, the great command, bellowed across the voice, hello, hello, aloha, aloha, Iowa, Jehovah, Yod He Va He Jaraba Ka Hamdulillah Krishna Mithra. Apollo Sun, just bars for fun. I give you some. Books, please read one. And magic is legendary. Long live the sink that fell from King Henry exceptionally. Like, you got to read these. This shit is this a book.
Yes.
And it ain't bullshit word. This is real shit. Hello, aloha, aloha, Iowa, Jehovah. What I'm doing is I'm showing you that all these shits is the same. Hello, aloha, aloha, Iowa, Jehovah. Yod He Va He Jaraba Ka Hamdulillah Krishna Mithra. All the same.
On that beat you just heard. So this is like he said, this is why he put the lyrics in the Bandcamp. So when people purchase the track, you get the you get the lyrics, and then while you playing the track, you read the lyrics, and it just enhances it. Because like I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes when I'm like if I'm at home listening to music, especially like if I'm listening to some old Ghostface or something, like I'll go on the Genius app and pull up the song, or if I'm listening to like J Electronica or whatever, like I'll go pull up lyrics and listen and read the lyrics as I'm listening to the song. I do that with Lupe Fiasco too, because it enhances it more when you're reading and listening to the track. It's just for me, it's just more enhancing. Now this is the third piece of the track. And this is when we start getting into the meat of the beat. Check this out.
Yo, I'm gonna say this, and on this one. I said, in the dark recesses of your mind, as a child waiting to come outside. Maybe he got picked on, never loved, saw too much, maybe shunned, probably bitter, shit just litters, never done. You have some, I have some ugly memories, and we act them out as adults. Would you look what we've become? I'm kind of jaded, shit, I'm faded, cause this light green vaguely reminds me of the 80s, 76 Bueller Sabre. My pops made me, and never did he shade me. Depression era, son of a widow, still he raised me like a pillar. I feel there's none iller. The foundation superior, supernal force is nearer. The quickening where Pisces and thickeners is slipping in. Mickeys and Quaaludes got folks slowly slipping in and out, but the real priests are still about. They walk it out with a staff minus the gown. When you get up, stay down. In my burg, in your town, we ride burbs, avoid curbs and lame herbs, blow herbs. At this time, I'm still. There's a lot of blowing references in here. I'm noticing. I might have to go back and. I'm gonna leave it as it is. Fuck it. That's where I was when I wrote it. So.
Peace, Young E.
Peace, Young E. Appreciate you, brother. So just give them a couple of minutes, and then you trying to play all.
That's it. Leave it at that.
Echoes in the chamber, the young God in the manger.
Yeah.
I don't smoke no more, Flex.
He had to stop me.
Yeah, man. Right on time. Before all of this. Got the download.
Well, folks, that was a taste. Like I said, maybe we'll do a podcast. I don't know, play the joints or something. But yeah, man, good show tonight, man. Thank everyone for checking in.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all. What was you about to say?
No, I'm just shutting it. And that, hey man, listen, next time remind me that everything's on my phone. Because I went through my computer, my laptop trying to find, and everything's on my phone. I just could have put this wire in my phone and played the joint. So next time remind me everything's in my phone.
It's on the phone. On the phone.
Oh man, I'm sitting here trying to be real quick. And then it dawned, I'm saying, yo, this beat is on my phone. Like I'm tripping. So yeah. But yeah, man, that's all I got, good brother.
Yeah, well, we appreciate y'all tuning in with us. We kind of impromptu sometimes, but hey, we're gonna do our best. Be back next week, and we'll chop it up, uncover something else.
Indeed. Indeed.
Till then, y'all stay up, stay healthy, stay positive, stay safe. Peace.
Peace.